And then, yeah, let me kind of bypass all these plugins. Let me take the ones that I'm not going to use. I'll play everything dry, and then we can listen back and hear what, what I'm doing in post. I feel like it's quite a bit. It's very night and day compared to what's going in, and then, what I'm committing. And this isn't every song. This is kind of, I like to almost start with like a pretty empty template as far as plugins go. I've got the ones that I kind of always go for, but I kind of fine tune each song that I track to the song, because every song is different. But for this particular one, yeah, let's just A/B with and without the post plugins. And then this will be with everything. Let's see, let me bring them up here. And I think I do have some. Let me bypass this stuff on the master. But yeah, it's quite a huge difference. I do, with my delivery, say this was a song. Obviously, these drums are not edited, but what I'll do is I'll start off by, getting enough takes to where it's like, all right, I feel like I've got it. And then from there, I will comp. So I go in and, pull in the best parts of each take that I've done and combine them into one. And then from there, using Beat Detective, I'll edit the drums, make sure everything's super pocketed, depending on whatever the producer calls for. Sometimes there is a line of like your natural feel, but making sure it's pretty gridded. And then from there, I spend a good amount on the post-processing, just making sure that everything I feel like is dialed. My goal for delivering drums to a producer is that they can drop these drums in to their session, and hopefully there's not a whole lot that they need to do. Maybe some compression, a little bit of EQ, but there's not a whole lot of tweaking that they need to do. My goal is to make their job easy. Sometimes I will print effects buses, do parallel compression, reverbs, and print those, where they're not baked into the session, but like it's more ran as parallel to where the producer can have the decision to like use that or not. But, I kind of preface it with like, hey, I thought this really added something to the overall drum sound, take it or leave it. And then from there, if the song requires it, a lot of, newer pop country and stuff like that, worship, CCM music, a lot of it requires drum sounds that are often difficult to get out, especially out of a smaller room. So sometimes I will layer in drum samples, like a kick and snare sample. You know, some people frown upon that. You know, to me, it's like, it's whatever gets the job done. You know, and I'm never fully replacing. It's like I'm finding samples that blend with the natural sounds that I got. It's only enhancing what's there. And then, you know, we'll take a look at my session. I've got a second drum kit set up here. Sometimes if the song calls for it, it's like you've got your main kit, and then like some sections will require some sort of loop kit, or where you're layering in a secondary kit to create more movement, or like you're doing tom overdubs or whatever. I've even done songs where I've tracked essentially everything separately. So I've laid the foundation with doing kick, snare, toms, but no cymbals at all. And you're just sitting there and you're tracking just the shells. And then you go back over and you set up another, you know, one of these. You know, you don't have to have everything, but you're just doing the crash cymbals and everything. And then another thing you're layering in is just doing the hi-hats. The advantage to this is if you've got like a pop song or even like a heavy hitting rock song, like, because room mics pick up so much cymbal bleed and it can quickly overpower the rest of the kit, it can become very harsh and, you know, not pleasant to listen to. With tracking everything separately, like if you're just doing the shells, the producer can really, really hone in on like bringing just the snare and drum sounds up without the cymbal bleed and everything in it. You can get a really, really isolated, really, really huge drum sound by doing this. Also in my template, I try to build in, you know, perk stuff. You've got tambo here, you got shakers. Sometimes I'll do a secondary tambo track, like if I'm doing, you know, one tambo track is like 16th or 18th note tambos, and then on another one I'm just doing like single hits that are verbed out. And then I'll do a cymbals, like swells. I've got the overheads, and then I've got both rooms in those. Just so the producer has the ability to blend them if he wants, or if he just wants to use one of them, depending on what he prefers the sound of. Yeah, I feel like cymbal swells can really add to the energy from transitions and the songs from verse to chorus, you know, turnarounds, just adds a nice texture. And then rim clacks, sometimes I will go in and I'll just use the rims of the drums and like do little textural things. And sometimes I'll process those in a way where it's, you know, very lo-fi sounding. It's almost like it's felt but not heard. Like when it's not there, you can definitely tell, but in context, you can't really tell that it's a rim clack, but there's definitely like an energy and a pulse that those bring.